Good day, everyone. I hope you guys have all been enjoying the amazing Namibian rainy weather and soaking in all the water that we've been getting. It's been a brilliant week, and I hope you're as excited for this project planning session as I am. This is a re-recorded session because the live session had technology glitches, apparently due to the rainy weather and the inconsistency that brings. Our IT team apologized profusely for those issues, but the rain gods won yesterday and not the technology gods. Not sure whether I am upset about that though. I hope you guys enjoy the session. There is supposed to be like lots of live interaction and so on, but that it will all be missing in the re-recording. And the Q&A will happen online via email. You guys can email me any questions, suggestions, ideas, chatting points once you finish watching or while you're during watching it. My email address is nicole@bdo.com.na. I'm not going to go through all the housekeeping rules because this is not a live session, but you can, both on Google Classrooms or on YouTube, wherever you're watching it, put auto captions on if you prefer reading to listening. The auto captions do not capture every word correctly. We don't speak American, so our pronunciation is a little bit different in Namibia. We have a little bit of our own accent, our Namlish. Sometimes the words we use are different and we pronounce things differently. So auto captions don't always work 100% for us, but you should get the gist of the story. Okay. All right. For today, we will start with a welcome and introduction. Then we'll do our project planning session and a conclusion and Q&A. It's a quick, simple session, should be approximately 45 minutes. And I hope you enjoy it. So, what kind of projects do you plan? We can plan any project from something small, selling one product to one client, how you're going to approach it, to opening a new branch and establishing a new market. It can be planning an event, it can be planning a virtual event, a live event, it can be planning an audit or planning a accounting project. There's all sorts of things you can plan and projects you can do. And what the structure we're explaining to you here is very simplified. It can even be used, say you have a system in place or a policy that you want to put together for your office. You can even use this structure to set up that policy. And when you're training people, you can use that same structure to explain your methodologies that you'd like to teach. Okay. So the structure I'm going to teach you guys today was suggested, or my teachers used it when I was in high school. And then recently, I've always kind of applied it to projects, but now I formally apply it to projects since I saw that our BDO Global uses the same structure, very, very simple structure to plan out their projects. And it's called the 5 W's and H. It can plan any kind of project. It can plan your policies to your big projects, can be applied to everything. The smaller the project, the less details there'll be, the less questions you'll ask. The bigger the project, the more questions you need to answer. Okay. So, 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and I'll leave the last W for last because it's the best. Then there's the H, how, and most importantly, I can't emphasize this one enough. And when we're talking about all the other W's and the H, I will go back to the why. The why is the most important question. It should be the first question you ask. Why am I even doing this? The second one should be the what. That's your goal. But the why, the reason why you want to achieve that goal, is the most important. Okay, so now we're going to look at the number one skill that you need to have when you're planning a project before we answer all the, or talk about all the questions. The number one skill you need to have when you are planning a project is communication. It is so vital to communicate to people. Making sure that people feel free to communicate to you and letting them know what their role is within the project. Okay. Communication builds relationships. You will have a better relationship with your team if you communicate effectively with them and are able to listen to them. So communication is a two-way street, not a one-way street. You don't dictate to people what they do. You explain to them what results you want. If they're using a program, you teach them how to use the program. But the actual doing, that's their job. A lesson that we can learn from Nelson Mandela, when he was asked, where did he gain his leadership skills? He said it was from his father at tribal meetings. When his father went to tribal meetings, they all sat in a circle, all the community members, and they would decide on their topic, and everyone would get a chance to speak, and his father would listen. And he would be the last to speak. Now, being the last to speak means that you get everyone else's opinion on a situation before you give yours. You don't shake your head when you're listening, you just absorb. You can ask questions to clarify, but it is key that you don't interrupt or give your opinion on the situation. You just absorb and listen. And that's how you build relationships. Communication bonds teams as well, builds trust between the teams, and it fosters innovation. Innovation is one of the keys to any project, especially in today's ever-changing world. We need to innovate, think out of the box to get that special factor going for us. Okay. Then we're going to talk about the first question you should be answering, and my very favorite question. I will probably talk about this in a lot of my trainings, and I actually have several trainings just on this topic that I've done internally with our staff. Yeah. So when we're asking the question why, I use the term why and purpose and mission interchangeably. This is the reason why you exist, your purpose in life, your mission. And before you start anything in life, any kind of project, whether it's a school project, work project, selling one product to a client, creating a project at home, whether you make YouTube videos or garden or whatever, you need to know your personal purpose. You need to know your own reason why. This is not something we're going to be able to do in a 45-minute session. It is not something you're going to do in a one-day session either. This is a personal journey. It's something that you go through every day, and you need to use it to focus what you're doing. My personal purpose, just to share with you, is thrive and help others thrive. I believe what I'm doing here, giving training, helping people open the way they think, open their minds to new ideas, is hopefully also helping you achieve your dreams. And maybe you'll spend some time thinking on your personal why as well. All right. Your personal why should be your guiding light in decision making. So if you have a tough decision to make, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Who am I doing it with? Your personal why can help you answer those questions. It can also help you choose which organization you work for. Your personal why, your personal purpose should align with your organizational purpose. So you should have all heard the term by now of a mission and vision, and I hope all your organizations have one. And your vision is your what. What do you do? What do you want to achieve? What's the end goal? At BDO, we want to be the leaders in our market. So that's our end goal, no matter what we do, whether you're an HR professional at BDO, an IT professional, a cleaner, an audit clerk, an audit manager, a partner, you need to lead in what you do. That is the what. What do? You lead. But now we're talking about the why. Why do we need to lead? Because we are the people helping people achieve their dreams. Now, isn't that a beautiful purpose? When BDO Global came up with that purpose, it was amazing the transformation we've seen within the office. And now I'm going to talk about a project that came from the development of our why, our mission, and has a very similar mission, but more defined on its specific goals. Okay, so your project also needs to have a purpose. So people helping people achieve their dreams, I mean, there's millions and thousands of things you can do that fit under that organizational purpose. And one of the things that we do is recruitment. That's a big thing. Our industry for audit firms is that we train up your young audit clerks to become CAs, and they leave the nest to go and be business leaders and financial managers and CEOs and so on. So the audit clerks tend to change yearly. We are constantly recruiting new staff. We have big intakes at the beginning of the year, and they start their traineeship with us. And so recruiting them is very important. And what we previously did was go and tell young students about the profession, what they need to study and how they need to do it. And that was where we left it. You know, they know about us. They have the information. They can do with it what they want. And with our development of our why, people helping people achieve their dreams, we committed to helping these new recruits, these young students who are unsure about life and making big life choices, grade 10s, 11s, 12s, who are making long-term commitments for the first time in their lives. We go in and we get them signed up onto our BIPA program, the BDO Young Professionals Academy. And this is all led by the thought of people helping people achieve their dreams. We are now creating young professionals and not just auditors. We want them to go out into the business world and be the most professional most polite and high achievers that you can ever find. And we want them to lead in their markets. We want them to lead in what they do. And so the whole purpose behind it has changed what we do, because now we provide mentorship to these BIPA candidates. We provide them with training, professional skills training from grade 10. They attend training sessions and improve on their own professional skills. We help them out with CV preparation and just your general beginner of professional skills. And it all changed with our project purpose, or our organizational purpose, sorry. So the project purpose is still to get great CAs, but now we want to help them achieve their dreams, and we're giving a little bit more. So knowing your why, your personal and organizational why, will help you come up with a stronger project purpose. I can talk about this one for hours. And I hope you guys have all reflected on your personal and organizational purpose. If you're sitting watching this and you don't know your organization's mission, then I think it's time to go and have a look at it. One point that we have always stayed very focused on when you're coming up with your mission is that it should be one sentence, easily understood by a 12-year-old, and something easy to remember. Not a long, complicated book, something simple, specific, that people can relate to easily. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. The second most important point is the who. There are so many who's to think about. It's like incredible. We are going to focus here on the who's going to do the work and who is your target market. But then you can also consider who is it going to impact. Say, for example, we're doing a street parade. Your target market, general public, who's going to do your work, your team, do you need consultants, other experts? But it's going to also impact all the businesses along the road that you're doing the street parade in. So you need to contact all those businesses or houses, depending on where you're doing the street parade, and let them know that unfortunately they can't. You need to, one of your considerations of the how is you need to contact the municipality and ask permission to close the road. But it's also really important for building the relationships that you go personally to all of the impacted businesses and talk to them. So think of who you're impacting to, other than just the work and the target market. Okay, so who's doing the work? What's really important here is assigning responsibilities. Give people free range to do what, the how, in the way that they want, but make sure they know their deadlines. They make sure they have the correct skill set that they can use, say, software programs, or if it's a woodworking program, that they can use the woodworking tools. Don't expect my 4-year-old to be able to do the same sort of thing as someone who's been in the industry for 20 years. So assign relevant responsibilities to everyone. Keep communication flowing. Back to the second slide, third slide. Communication. Depending on the project, the size of the project, set meetings, set schedules for communication, set schedules for feedback. When do you want reporting to be done? But keep it going. Right, and then your target market. Say you're moving to open a new branch of your business in a new town. When we're doing an audit, we look at the client's requirements, and then we see areas where we can also help them improve. So we anticipate beforehand things that might come up soon for them. And that is very key to your client service. As far as possible, include your target market in the planning. So in Namibia, we all know that everything shuts down in December except the tourist and hospitality industries. If you're planning a party, yay, do it in December. If you're planning training, no, let's not do it in December. No one wants to do training in December anyway. It's our time to relax and recuperate. In January, we can come back and do our training. So as far as you can, take your target market in consideration when you're planning. Do your market research, understand their needs and their wants, predict what they might not know they want. Apple says that they create things that their clients don't even know they wanted. We should be doing that for our target markets too. And again, keep communication flowing. Very important to keep your target market up to date. Social media is a brilliant and cheap way. Email communication is brilliant. And for the general public, you might want to do press releases in the newspapers, advertising, newspaper, radio, TV if you want. There are a variety of platforms that you can do your advertising on. Just make sure you keep that communication going. And then, very important, to stick to your commitments. In your planning, you set your deadlines, you say, I'm going to do this by then, and you stick to it. Of course, problems are going to happen. If you've planned effectively and thoroughly and answered as many of the questions as you can in your planning, you should not encounter too many problems, but you might encounter a problem. Like when I did this training live, technology failed me. So I was there, I was trying my best to connect, and my slides were failing me and my connection was failing me. I was kicked out of Teams like 4 times in a row. But I managed to stick to my commitment to record this session and provide them with a good quality recording. So even if the live session wasn't as brilliant as it was supposed to be, the recording is still there. What's important with that is to communicate, to say, by tomorrow morning, you will get this recording uploaded and we will send you the link to watch it. Hopefully this all goes perfectly smooth and no more technology glitches so that I can send this to you tomorrow morning. Then we look at these subjective questions. What, where, when, and how. Every project will have vastly different options for these questions. Oh, sorry. The what is your goal? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? Where considerations that you need to take in your mind is, are we doing it virtually, in person, indoors, outdoors? Are we going to rent a location? Do we already have our own location? All those things. If we're doing it outdoors, what's the weather going to be like? Is it in the rainy season? Do we need to have a tent available or an indoor hall available as a backup? The when, you have to look at your who's and when are they available, what their work schedule looks like, what their private lives look like, depending on what you're doing. I've seen a lot with insurance companies and banks. Their target markets are always people who work. So they often will come to you. They don't expect you to come to them. They come to you, and they are often available after hours. So between 5 and 6, they are willing to come to your house. I've had dinner with my banker because that was when I could see her. And because she was coming after hours, I said to her, no, she must come and have food with us, and we can do business talk and enjoy a meal together. So the when is also really important to consider the who. The what and the how, we also need to take the why into consideration there. If you're using people helping people achieve their dreams, that helps you determine the what and the how. When you hit hiccups, you go back to that why and figure out how to solve your problems from that why. You need to make sure your team has the right training, to the right skill set to be able to do all the hows that you have in mind. And that's why you go back to the who as well. So they're all basically very interlinked, but just using this really, really simple structure, you can answer all the questions out there. And depending on the size of your project, small project, big project, it's all there in these 6 questions to make any project a success. So the key takeaways that we have from this session. Number 1, we always start with an idea or an innovation. We have our first thoughts. This is what I want to do. Then we plan. Why, who, what, where, why, when, how. Note that I put why twice. Go back to it all the time. And be willing to change and adapt and add questions. In my planning, my personal planning, I love notebooks. Notebooks are life for me. I always have a notebook. I know with technology today, a lot of people are moving paperless, and you can do it on an iPad whiteboard, but I like my pen and paper still very much. Or you can do it on a whiteboard, a real whiteboard, and get your team together. Innovation comes from inspiration, sitting around a table, discussing, throwing ideas out. And sometimes you throw out an idea and it's not that great, but that's okay. That's what ideas are for assessing and discussing and planning. And sometimes we go back to square one in the planning session and say, no, you know, the original idea and innovation, let's reassess. But this is what your planning is for. This is why we do it. You will encounter problems. It is inevitable. Not everything works as planned. You can prevent problems by planning thoroughly. But when you encounter a problem, you must remember you can always innovate. You can always go back to the drawing board and start from scratch. And always go back to your why. It will help you so much in solving problems. And then in the end, you will have a project that you've run successfully from start to finish, from idea to end result. Well done. I am proud of you. You've done an awesome job. Thank you, guys. Here's the Q&A slide. If we were doing this live, you guys could have chatted, discussed, asked me questions. But now I'm encouraging all of you to pop me an email. My email address is Nicole, NICOLE @bdo.com.na. And I welcome any questions, comments, suggestions, recommendations. Chat to me. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Bye.